All right, so this is a demo for doing vector composites in Adobe Illustrator. And for this lab exercise, you can use any images from the images you've already shot this term. Do at least 6 images. I will say, though, be aware of the file size that you're creating with this, especially with high resolution images. You know, they have the potential to, crash your software potentially. So if you need to bring them in a few at a time to work with them, that's fine too. If you do notice that your software starts to get laggy or slows down, then just do be aware of that. So to get going with this, what I'm going to do is actually make a brand new document. So I'm going to do Control-N for new, and I want to do an 8-page document, and I'm in Adobe Illustrator. So for the number of artboards, I'm going to make that 8 artboards. Do be aware if you prefer to make a landscape or a portrait style image. I personally, so that my documents can be seen on like a workstation, either a laptop screen or a desktop computer screen, I normally personally would go for a landscape orientation. All right, so right now, and I set this up just at 8 by 11 normal size pages. You could also do tabloid, but 8 by 11 works good for me. So this is what that creates in Illustrator. I'm zooming back. In terms of trying to do a multi-page layout like this, you can, if you like, leave these sort of gridded like this, but you may want to, and I do suggest that you design off the edges of the artboards. So in order to do that, I need to reorient these a little bit. So the way I'm going to do that in Illustrator is go to my artboard tool, and real simply, that just lets me grab these and move them, reposition them. And do notice that this shows the order that they are going to appear in. Artboard 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So now I'm ready to bring some images in. But before I do that, part of what we're going to be doing with this is creating smooth and gradated composites of some of the various images that you're working with. So let me show you how gradients work in Illustrator. If I were to just create a simple vector shape, such as a square there, right now this object has a white fill and a black outline. So I'm going to swap that so that's a little bit easier to see. And then I'm just going to go to my gradient tool and put a gradient on this. What this tool allows me to do is actually drag. Oh, that's not working. So I'm actually going to go right here to make my gradient work. And just by clicking on one of the default gradients, it will go ahead and put that on there. And I guess I have to activate that before I can use this right here. But what that allows me to do is relocate my gradient, in terms of how much variation I have between the 2 or more colors that I'm working with. So, and also notice with your gradients, you can control whether, the colors, of course, that are in between it, but also you can control the opacity. Right now, this is white inside of that area there, that's black, and the opacity is 100%. But you do have the ability for one end of that gradient to make it have it more opacity. And that'll come into play later as we work with this a little bit more. And let me show you one other thing that we're going to be doing with the composites or clipping masks that we use. Let me make this just a normal color. Just make this a solid color. One of the other things we're going to be doing with these objects is doing feathering of the edges. And that really helps with these sort of composites that we'll do too. And the way that I feather the edges on my vector objects is under the Effects palette. I go to Stylize, Feather, and always by default it'll come up not being on. So I'm going to hit Preview. And you can see it just a little bit there. I can't zoom in right now. But as I increase the radius of this, I can see that feathering a lot more. And so we're going to be using that a little bit for what we do today. So next thing I need to do now is bring some images in to sort of do some of this with. So I'm going to go and really just randomly pull in. Of course, I haven't logged in yet. Let me see if there's anything. Let me log in real quick here. And again, some of the different ways you can pull imagery in is you can either copy and paste it in, you can screen capture it in. Any of those techniques for bringing it over into Illustrator will work fine. So I'm just going to pull a few of these that y'all shot. So and again, it works good for, the quickest way for me is to do screen captures. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to do screen caps. And I'm on this Windows machine. I usually take my screen caps over into OrphanView. So I'm going to paste into OrphanView. Didn't get my screen cap. Let's see. Control, print screen. Go to OrphanView. And then in OrphanView, I will crop my image. Control Y will crop, and then I will copy that and go to Illustrator. And I'm just going to go for 3 images real quickly. Okay, so that's one of them. Let me go to our last shooting lab. Oh, that's DOCX. I can't pull from that. Back up. Okay, let's see. All right, and I'm just randomly grabbing some images. Okay, let me just grab one more image. I should have grabbed, already had these in there. Okay, let's zoom back. Okay, so, and then just one more to paste in. Okay, so I've got my images. Now, as you begin to work with these images in Illustrator, you can duplicate them, because I do want you, this actually 8 artboards is a lot to do. You can bring in more images if you want to, but again, we want to see ways that you are able to combine these images. So one of the first ways that I can start to combine these is by doing clipping mask. And the clipping mask allow me to sort of edit what I'm looking at in the images. I can copy these. So if I copy this one, I can transform it, I can reflect it, try to do some creative. Approaches. I could sort of mirror images real quickly like that. Also, I can use shapes to edit the images. Let's say I copied this one 3 times. And I use a drag-alt command in Illustrator. That works real quick for me. So with this, I could do something like this. Let's say this is going to be one of the clipping masks that I make. And to remind you, a clipping mask is a combination of a vector shape and your photographic image. So if I want to activate the clipping mask with what I'm looking at right here, and right now that's a black fill and a no outline. So I'm going to switch that so that's actually more visible. That way I can see what I'm actually cropping. And then to activate it, I select both and then just right click, make clipping mask. Be aware that in Illustrator your clipping mask is an active filter. So as long as this is selected, I can grab my pencil tool and actually redraw the edges of my clipping mask. So I click and hold down. So that's an active filter that you can, with the pencil tool, and also with the hollow selection tool, any of the anchor points, I can click on, activate an anchor point, and relocate it. But getting back to what I mentioned earlier, I can also affect these edges by making them feathered. And for doing composites, that's so much more visually, to me, appealing rather than just the hard vector edges. So again, with that object selected, I can go to Stylize, Feather, then activate the preview. Let me cancel that. That's not showing anything. Try that again. There we go. And that really allows me to do really nice composites. So if I were to copy this image, Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste, and Illustrator's starting to slow down a little bit. I'm noticing as I'm copying and pasting, and it's again because I'm replicating these elements like this. I did want to show you that real quickly, how you can make these clipping masks like that. But also one of the other things you guys can, creatively try to use with this is under Effect and Stylize. You also can use Inner Glow. And Inner Glow I like to use to actually recolor some of my images in Illustrator. Right now my glow is, let me hit preview. Right now my glow is white, but I can switch that to pretty much any other color. And it will color that image for me. So that's one way that you can, sort of also get differences in the graphics that you put together. So I'm just going to OK that. And I really didn't do a lot of filtering to these, but you guys do a whole lot more filtering to it. But I do want to show you what the result is sort of going to look like. Right now, again, if I go to my artboard, this would be page 1, this would be page 2, and of course I didn't finish filling up all of these, but creatively, I just want to see what y'all can do. And you can approach this thematically too. If you're picking from various photo sets that you've already shot, you can do it chronologically, or you can sort of mix some of the different things that you've already shot. But again, the result for this is going to be actually a PDF file. So Illustrator has the ability, of course, to be saved as a default file type, an AI file. But it really makes it quicker in terms of a workflow. If I do a multi-page document like this, it really helps the workflow going directly to Issue or Slideshow. If I go ahead and output an Adobe PDF, do be aware though, you need to preserve the illustrating editing capabilities of your working file. When you're finished and you want to output just a regular PDF, you can deselect that and output another one, but retitle it as the one that you can upload. But do save your working file as a PDF just so you'll get the experience of working with one of those out of Illustrator.